Hello and welcome back to Yapping About Sports. On today's show, I'll be talking about the Detroit Tigers' 8-5 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates, where they currently sit as I'm recording this episode, and outlook. And I think tonight just proves exactly how they're going to win baseball games, and they're going to need big leads. And I'll get into it, but focusing on tonight's game. Tigers win 8-5. They were winning this game 8-1 at one point. And one thing I will say is Callahan has came right into the fold and has RBI base hits in his debut and has another 2 RBI base hit tonight to extend out the Tigers lead to 8-1. Max Clark also with another RBI single. Kevin McGonigal with a 2-run homer. The offense scoring 8 runs is where I will start because it's a positive. And once they get back Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter healthy and hopefully at least semi back to normal and Dylan Dingler back to his normal self, there's still a lot of positive left in this lineup. I still think that is what I'm more watching right now is how consistent can this lineup be, because we already know what the bullpen is, and we know that we just don't have the pitching depth right now after trading away Mize and Skubal to rely on the starting pitchers to go 5, 6, 7 innings plus into a game. Valdez had the chance to go 7 plus tonight, but unfortunately cookie sort of crumbled a little bit, allows a bases clearing RBI double with when there was, that was the most frustrating part of the night, was definitely giving up the bases clearing double, making this a ball game that should have never been a ball game. And it's just if they would have blown another 7-run lead, I think it just goes to show they definitely do not deserve a postseason spot. And I'm still not bought in. I don't want to be seen as the negative Nancy, but I truly just do not believe that this Detroit Tigers team is a postseason team. I think not getting any sort of bullpen out of, labeled bullpen or high-end bullpen return for Tarek Skubal and his trade is going to hurt more than it helps in the long run. Will Vest, I think, is actually being missed more at times, but I'm okay with, tonight it is what it is. Framber Valdez looked sharp through 5 2/3 and then sort of fell apart a little bit before getting through that 6th inning. My trust in Kyle Finnegan, it's up and down. It's a roller coaster with the bullpen and with the arms, but it seems more times than not I just don't trust Kyle Finnegan coming out of the bullpen. Being able to give you some consistency, being able to be a name that you can rely on and trust as a late high leverage arm, which is exactly what you need to have success at the major league level. And you have to have the majority of the 3 components. You have to have a consistent major league lineup that has power, that has contact, that has base stealing, that has bunts when you need bunts, and the Tigers just do not have that, and it's pretty consistent. It's pretty evident that they do not have it, and I think they are dead last in bases stolen this season and probably last in attempts. And I know that the offense probably misses a bat like Parker Meadows or a base runner like Parker Meadows, but Zach McKinstry, you now have Max Clark. I think that you need to really get aggressive, and it really needs to feel like you're in a postseason chase. Tonight's game, again, for one other thing I noticed or took note of, the Tigers have been on the wrong end of so many MLB reviews and booth reviews and challenges. I just don't know what exactly goes on, but Kevin McGonigal, I don't think ended up costing Detroit anything in the moment early in this game. But Kevin McGonigal clearly caught a line drive to third base, did not touch anything but leather, and somehow both runners at first and second were safe after the play. Bit of a confusing one there. What other thing I noticed, if you're in a postseason race and you have less than 30, around 35, 40 games left, Spencer Torkelson needs to be playing first base. I don't have trust in Colt Keith yet at first base, especially in late inning situations. I know that Torkelson came in and pinch hit later, but also not having Valencia consistently, I don't know why. I'm a big feel for the game guy and what I see being presented in front of my eyes, not so much of what's on the stat sheet, what's on the analytical side, what the computer is saying. I've seen Valencia on TV and in person multitudes of times and a lot of at-bats and since he's been up. He needs to be your DH. He needs to be your backup catcher and your DH. I know that it's a matchup thing, but I don't understand why. I know you have Colt Keith. I know you have other bats. But yeah, I mean, realistically, this is just from a yapper, realistically, and that's what it is in reality. But my lineup, Max Clark in center field, Riley Green when he's healthy, but we'll take away. We'll just go with people that are healthy. I would run with Callahan in left field. I would run with Malgeri in right field. I would have Max Clark in center field. I would have McKinstry as your first pinch hitter off the bench, playing either in the infield at second or at short or at third, or playing right field for Malgeri later on if you get a better at bat, lefty righty. I would have your infield consistently be Torkelson, Torres, Baez, and McGonigal, and you rotate whether it's lefty or righty, Valencia or Colt Keith at the DH. And then you heavily rely on Jackson Jobe, Troy Melton, Framber Valdez, and Kiter Montero to anchor this rotation. And then just pray that you get 15 outs whenever you can out of Drew Anderson when he takes the mound. And give the one sacrifice I am willing to make, or one compromise in this bullpen, is with where they're at in their career, and it's a one-year deal, I'm okay with just giving Kenley Jansen the ninth inning for the remainder of the year. He's done it his whole career. If you win, you win. You lose. But at least right now it's your best option because he's the most comfortable one there. He's been there the most time of his career, and he has gotten the job done more times than not as of late. Is it frustrating? Does it give it Jose Valverde vibes at times? Sure. It's not consistent, and I'm okay with that. And one bullpen arm that struck out the side without giving up a run tonight with Gregory Soto. I would take Greg Soto and Tyler Alexander back in this bullpen in a heartbeat. I really would. And I know Paul Sewald was one that struggled in Arizona, but this team is right now, standings-wise, numbers-wise, reality-wise, in a postseason chase. As of right now, I think the Twins are winning 4-2 over the Atlanta Braves. That will be the one game that I do watch. For the remainder of the night, Blake Snell dominated for the Dodgers. The Tampa Bay Rays do their job over the Baltimore Orioles. But focusing on the Detroit Tigers, they are 61-64, so they are still 3 games below 500, but 3 games below 500 has you in the wild card conversation. So I will continue to talk about it. I will continue to, there has to be some form of optimism simply because of how the lineup is operating. And if Hinch decides to pushes the right buttons, I'm all for it. But I'm not a manager. I've not done much coaching. I've not coached beyond high school or middle school baseball, so very well and not deserving to criticize A.J. Hinch of being a Major League Baseball manager. I just, from a viewer standpoint and trying to understand with what I'm watching and from the feel of the game, I would have Valencia in this lineup consistently until you have everybody healthy. And when you do get Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter back, I would rotate Valencia and Kerry Carpenter in your DH spot, and you have corner outfielders like Callahan, like Malgeri, and if you at worst need to, you have enough infielders now. Play Zach McKinstry in right field and just let it ride. He's been more consistent, had a couple more base hits tonight, has had more RBIs. I'm okay with it. You have Max Clark, should be your everyday center fielder, and if you are worried about lefty-lefty, throw Javi Baez out there, throw Colt Keith at third, McGonigal at short, and Torres at second, and McKinstry in right, and keep Malgeri or Callahan in left field. And that is another thing that I will add that I am happy about, and that is a positive on this Tigers team, is the amount of players that come through the system the last 4 or 5 seasons that make their debuts on the mound, that make their debuts at the plate, like Valencia, like McGonigal, like Clark, and now like Callahan. And Callahan has had an impact and had RBIs. And unfortunately, you knew it was the reality because you sort of had seen it early on at different times in the season. But you're not really missing names like James Outman. You're not really missing names like Matt Vierling right now. You're just not, and you can play. And Jake Rogers, he's playing in Chicago tonight. So you're just not really missing these types of names that I really think that you thought you may have. So that is what I have on today's Yapping About Sports. Tigers win 8-5 in a game they were winning 8-1 at one point. But hey, a win is a win. I'm more focused on the offense, starting pitching, and it's a game. I play the game every night. Does the other team score more runs, or do you get more outs, or do you get the final out before the other team scores more runs? It just becomes a mini game at this point because it started once I got the notification. I wasn't around the TV or around the radio when the bases clearing double happened because it was an 8-1 game and Valdez looked solid tonight, so I thought we were having not much to worry about, and we end up giving up a bases clearing double, and it's an 8-5 game. I will be back again to record tomorrow, hopefully after another Tigers win. They still need to win 3 more games to get to 500. Still have 2 more against the Pirates with a struggling Paul Skeens on Wednesday. I will see you guys again tomorrow, and go Tigers.